Hello, my little mathematicians. Today we're going to talk about place value and rounding. It's important that we know what each individual number is called depending upon what place value they're in. So let's go ahead and start by turning our paper like this, okay? And we'll start right here. Our dividing point is this decimal point. Everything to the left of the decimal, or above it in this case, let's start there. So in this first number to the left of the decimal, it's called being in the ones place. Then try and see if you can name it before I write it. Comes the tens place. After the tens comes the hundreds. After hundreds comes the thousands. And after the thousands, you have the 10,000s. And then the 100,000s and so on. Okay. Now what about to the right of the decimal, or below it in this case? It's almost the same as these in the same order. It's just I put a THS at the end. The only thing that's different is there's no such thing as a 1th place. You start with the 10th. After the tenths come the hundredths. It continues in the same pattern after that. I just add a THS at the end. So after the hundreds came the thousands, then the 10,000s, then the 100,000s. So that's all the names for my place values that are on the paper. Of course, there's more. They keep going in each direction. Let's go ahead and turn our paper back this way. And sometimes they ask us to write out a number but using words. We need to know how to do that in case in a word problem it spells out the letters. So what is this number called using words? Well, what place value is the 1 in? It's in the thousands place. So I'd say 1,000. And then this 2 is in the hundredths place. So 200. So 1,200 and 50 what? 52. And you're like, okay, well, that's all I know, 1,252. What about to the right of the decimal? Well, then I just put an and after that. And this is in the tenths place. So I'm going to say 8 tenths. And that's all there is to it. Why don't you go ahead and try those ones? And then when you think you have it, unpause the video and come back and check with us. Okay, for the first one, now that you unpaused and you're back with us, hopefully you put 34. Okay, that's here to the left of the decimal. And then to the right of the decimal, you had 17. What place value is the last number in? It's in the hundredths place. So 17 hundredths. Okay, for the next one, and if you're like, oh, wait, if that's how you do it, maybe you want to pause again and maybe double check these. Okay, and then unpause. Let's see if you got them right. 451. Okay, that's to the left of the decimal. Now to the right, that's 915 what? Well, the 5 is in the thousands place, right? 10th, 100th, thousands. So it's and 915 thousandths. There you go. Okay, For the next one, to the left of the decimal is easy, it's 6. And after the decimal, this says 34. But 34 what? Well, the last digit is in the hundredths place, so 34 hundredths. And that's how you name your numbers, okay? Depending upon what place value they're in. And then to the right of the decimal, you name them just like normal, except at the very end, you say either hundredths, thousandths, tenths, depending upon where the last digit after the decimal, what place value it was in. Okay? I also want to know how to round things. For instance, right here. If I wanted to round this, they don't normally underline it like this and tell me what they want to round it to. They first of all just say like, hey, round to the tenths place or the hundredths place or the ones place or round to the nearest tens. Well, I need to know what place they're in, right? So what place is that underlying digit in? It's in the ones. Okay, what's the value of that digit? Its value is 4. Okay, this underlying number right here is in the hundredths place. What's its value? How much is it worth? It's also worth 4. Okay, what place value is underlined here? It's in the tenths, hundredths, thousandths place. What's the value of that digit? It was a 2. Now, this is important to know because sometimes they'll say like, hey, round to the nearest tenths or round to the nearest hundredths. And so then I like what they did. If you underline whatever place value that is, and then you have to look at the number behind it. If the number behind it is 4 or below, then that digit will stay the same. There's no such thing as round down. It's either stay the same or round up. And then 5 or above, that tells the number to round up 1 digit. And again, that's only looking at the number right behind the one you're focusing on. So for instance, right here, this would say round to the nearest ones. So right here, that number behind it, does that tell this 5 to stay a 5 or to go up to a 6? Well, it falls, that 8 is 5 or above, so it tells this 5 to go up 1 digit. So it becomes 46. Okay, this one, this would say round to the nearest tens. Look at the number behind the one I'm focusing on. Does that 2 tell this 3 to stay a 3 or to go up to a 4? Well, this falls into the 4 below category, so it says stay a 3, so 630. And yes, when I round to this one, then if I need to put a 0 placement holder, that's what I do. Okay, this one would say round to the nearest tenth. This would say round to the nearest tens. This would say round to the nearest tenth. Okay, so one number after the decimal. Look at the number behind it. That 6 tells this 5 to go up 1 because it falls into the 5 or above category. So everything before it stays the same. It's just this number itself. It either stays or goes up, and we said it goes up because the number behind it was 5 or higher. Okay, this one would say round to the nearest hundreds. So look at the number behind it. The 2 tells this 1 to stay a 1. And then we just put 0 placement holders so I know that it was in the hundred spot. Okay, this would say, again, round to the nearest tenth with a TH. That 1 tells this 0 to stay as is, so stay as 0. So it's going to be 78.0. Okay, and then this one would say, again, round to the nearest tenth with a TH. Okay, so normally you'd keep the 5 of 5, and then I would say, okay, does this stay or does it go up? Well, the 9 tells this 9 to go up 1, but 1 higher than 9 is actually 10. So then I carry the 1 there, and this is actually no longer a 5. Now it's a 6. So it would be 6.0. Okay. Hopefully now this has made rounding a little bit easier. Okay, we need to know our place values, so study where each number is, the name of its place value. And then remember, whatever they tell you to round to, look at the number behind it. If the number behind it is 4 or below, then the one you're focusing on will stay the same. If the number behind it is 5 or above, then you round that one up 1 digit. Congratulations, my little mathematicians. You should now be masters of rounding and knowing numbers according to their place value.